you mentioned Lynn Ramsey, and that she is an art house, filmmaker. When you heard that, not so much the fact that here's a woman, director tackling your world, but the fact that here's an art house filmmaker tackling your novella. Was there any trepidation? Did you have to be convinced about her doing it?
Not really. The book had been out. I originally published it as an ebook, and in 2013, this internet concern called Byliner approached me, offered some nice money and a limited word count, and I thought, let me experiment. Let me write a thriller, because that's all I'd been reading. Primarily, for a number of years, I'd been reading the novels of Richard Stark, a pseudonym for Donald Westlake. Donald Westlake was a prolific author, but he also wrote the screenplay for The Grifters. And so I thought, let me try to write a thriller. So I did. Came out as an ebook, and then it got published in France and Spain, and it came out in France as a little kind of pocket crime novel. And a French producer read it, loved it. It got very good reviews in France. The French love noir. I guess they have so much joy with all their food and wine that they like things dark also. And so the French producer sent it to Lynn. About a year later, Lynn contacts me, and I had always thought it could be a movie. A year before, I had sent it to my film agent in Hollywood and said, I think there's a movie in this novella I've written. Never really heard back from the guy. Well, a year later, Lynn wants to do it, and I'm thrilled. But who's Lynn's agent? My agent. And so then the guy started taking credit for things. Eventually, he stopped being my agent at some point. But anyway, I was very excited because this was, the first filmmaker, and I had felt there was a movie here, and it seemed perfect that someone with an unusual sensitivity and an unusual worldview might be drawn to it, because the character has a lot of suicidal ideation, is tormented, perhaps not entirely sane. And Lynn sent me, I got all of Lynn's movies, watched them, and saw, what an artist she is. And I think we can see that in this film, as I was telling you, like every frame, the way bodies are introduced to scenes, the colors, the use of music, editing, sound. I mean, she is a total filmmaker. She's not just framing a picture and having two people talk in the usual way. So I had no hesitation, and this was around 2014 when she contacted me, and we corresponded for the next 2 years. She was primarily in Greece, and she would send me drafts of the script, and I would give her notes, and we just kept corresponding, and then I tend to sometimes get confessional in my emails for whatever reason, and so I began to open up to her, and one of the things I told her about was that I have an obsession for Russian and Turkish bathhouses. At the time, I was living in New York, now I live in Los Angeles, and I would go 3 or 4 nights a week to the Russian-Turkish bathhouse, and maybe I'd come back, there would be an email from her, time zone, I said, oh, just got back from the baths. So she ended up putting in a scene at the Russian bathhouse with Joaquin there, and even that staircase where he meets the guy who sells him the pills, I happen to know that staircase was right by the baths also. The magic of locations when they try to double up on a spot. So anyway, I was very excited to work with her, and I think was a strong collaboration.